Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. While technical, this bill is relatively simple, and I'm conscious that a number of honourable members are keen to ensure that their bills are also heard. So I'm going to keep my remarks as brief as possible, especially as the contents have been well covered at previous stages. Currently, legal safeguarding duties don't apply to independent providers in the same way as they do for those educated at school, sixth form or further education college. The Education and Training Bill aims to make sure that all young people are protected by the same safeguarding duties in the law, irrespective of the education or training provider they choose. The bill contains two substantive court clauses. The first clause amends the Education Act 2002 to extend the existing safeguarding duties that apply to further education colleges, schools and sixth forms to post-16 academies. As more sixth forms convert to academies, the requirement for this change becomes more pressing. Clause 1 also brings independent learning providers and specialist post-16 institutions into scope by imposing direct responsibilities upon the Secretary of State for Education, requiring them to include the safeguarding duties as a condition of any agreements with these institutions. The bill would also compel providers to have regard to any guidance on safeguarding issued by the Secretary of State, such as the document Keeping Children Safe in Education. The second clause will amend the Apprenticeships, Skills, Children and Learning Act of 2009 to ensure that apprenticeship providers, as well as those who assist with the training or education of T-level students that are funded under the Act, must follow these safeguarding duties, whilst also having regard to any guidance issued by the Secretary of State. Again, the duty is on the Secretary of State to include these requirements in agreements, while the duty to safeguard and promote the welfare of children at the institution falls upon the provider. Madam Deputy Speaker, I introduced this bill because in the City of Durham I'm privileged to represent a constituency that contains a number of top-class further education providers in both academic and vocational subjects. There's the leading further education college, New College Durham, one of the first education providers to offer T-levels, as well as the excellent Huffle College, which I share East Durham College with my honourable friend and member for Easington. And we also have a number of brilliant sixth forms, as well as a number of independent providers. And I'd like to place on record my gratitude to the staff, students and family members who've put so much effort into ensuring that there's been as little disruption to education as possible during the pandemic. However, while I welcome the diversity in training and education courses available to my constituents, I do not welcome the potential for variation in safeguarding requirements. As a parent, I know how important it is to be secure in the knowledge that your child is kept safe in education. For many, further education is a new experience, full of different challenges, both for young people and their families. Between further education colleges, sixth form academies and independent providers, there's a variety of options for how young people are educated, and this can be confusing for parents. We could debate all day in this House over how education should be provided, but I think we can all agree that every child and young person, regardless of their background or education provider, should be subject to the same safeguarding requirements as their peers. By closing this loophole, we can help protect young people while giving parents the reassurance and peace of mind they deserve when it comes to their child's education. Yet this bill is about more than protecting young people and reassuring parents. It's also practical for education and training providers. Currently, the system for post-16 academies, independent providers and specialist institutions is somewhat complex and inconsistent. By extending legal safeguarding duties to cover all publicly funded providers of post-16 education, safeguard requirements for institutions are simplified, making the whole process easier for educators. The bill will also benefit providers to which these duties already apply by ensuring that there is a level playing field when it comes to safeguarding requirements, meaning that schools, colleges and sixth forms will operate on the same terms as the independent sector. To finish, this is a good, simple bill aimed at addressing an anomaly in safeguarding legislation that we all recognise must be fixed, and does so in a way that benefits providers, parents and young people. And I hope that we can continue the fantastic cross-party work so far on this bill and help me close this anomaly in law. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker.